Hello, welcome to EMR 512 Professional Development and Internship. My name is Jen Miller. I will be your instructor for this course. Just to start, I just wanted to do a quick introduction, a little bit of background about me. I have been in the field of K-12 education for the past 17 years. I've now moved into the higher ed world. Currently, I'm finishing up my doctorate and dissertation process, and I am Director of Professional Development and Graduate Outreach also here at Lake Erie College. So as far as my office hour goes, I just want you to be aware that I'm here most days from 9, available 9 to 4 easily. So you can always call me in my office. You can email me. I respond to email very quickly, check my email almost all the time. So, and if I'm ever going to be out of town or on vacation, I will let you know in advance if you won't be able to reach me via email. So I feel like that's really important. Please don't hesitate to reach out with questions or concerns or any issues you're having. So this is your field experience course for your master's in literacy, and I really want you to treat it as such. Remember that these are logical, sequential, planned experiences in pre-K, 3, middle, and secondary levels. And so my background is in a wide range of age levels. I've taught English language arts from 4th grade to 9th grade. I was also a literacy interventionist, literacy coach, and a librarian. So I've worn many hats in the past 17 years of K-12 education, and almost all of those have always been focused on literacy. So it's definitely something that I understand. There's a wide range at the different grade levels. So I know some of you may be working at pre-K 3, some of you middle school, some of you secondary, and there's just a wide variety of what you'll be doing and seeing. And so I think that's pretty exciting for us to be able to provide that support for each other and discussions through our field experiences. So the course is definitely set up to help us. You're going to have a total of 50 hours of field experience. Keep that in mind as you're logging those, that's your end goal. But you're going to have some different aspects of the courses that will help us develop those relationships. This is an asynchronous course, 100% online. No times you have to log in. There are due dates, so pay attention to those. I will post a weekly announcement at the beginning of each week just to remind you, here's what's due this week, here's what you've got going on. But the course is set up for us to be able to interact and discuss too. So just because it's asynchronous online doesn't mean we're not going to get to know each other and work with each other. So just keep that in mind. As far as text, you're going to have 3 total texts that you need. The first one has been chosen for you. This is disruptive thinking. This will be the first one we start with for your first reflection paper. You'll have 2 additional ones, and I will post an announcement at the beginning of the week, the first week, telling you that you're going to need to submit your choices for those 2 that you would like to do on your own. I don't give you a required list to choose from. I would like you to pick something that is relevant to literacy at your age level, your field experience that's actually going to help you. Remember, our goal is to develop a data-driven literacy program in your field experience. So if you're looking, maybe you need to focus more on assessment, maybe you need to focus more on fluency, maybe you're focusing more on comprehension. I want you to have the flexibility to choose what you need to choose. But of course, I'm going to approve those and make sure that they're at the graduate level that we want to be at as we're discussing and reading. Make sure that you submit those so that those get approved so that you can get those as soon as possible and get to working on those. You are writing a reflection paper for each one that you read, so just keep that in mind. It's also going to be something I want you using to apply knowledge of what you are doing in the field, because remember, this is professional development and internship. So we're combining that piece of the learning with what we're doing in the classroom. You notice I talk with my hands a lot. So you're going to make sure that those texts too, I'm going to highly recommend anyways, that those are aligned with science of reading and what we know, the research about reading and structured literacy approaches. It doesn't mean that there's not relevance in other texts. I just want you to make sure that you're aligning with that process of thinking. And if you need more information on that, support, help finding text, please reach out again via email or give me a call. I'm happy to help you find books. I love professional books. It's one of my favorite things to collect. It's my husband would tell you. So I'm happy to share and help you find those resources if you need help. But I want you to have the flexibility and freedom to choose something that's really going to apply to your experience and not this book, The Disruptive Thinking, is going to be more generalized and not get into maybe specific strategies. It's going to be more of an overview of what we want. Um, why how we read matters is the context, and it's going to deal with a more wider range of grade levels. So you may want to focus in for your grade level too. Um, check the syllabus. That's going to be the biggest piece that I want you to examine as we get into this first week. Even here over the weekend, just getting yourself aligned with everything that we have to do. So I will send that out, but I just want to make sure you know what your grades consist of. So you're going to have a weekly log sheet. That weekly log sheet is turned in once a week. 10 points per week. It's 20% of the grade is the total weight. So just know that that log tells me how many hours you've worked with, what your focus was for the field experience for that week, and then a slight reflection on those pieces. If you happen to not get any field experience a week, because I know certain weeks can be crazy in schools, that's okay. Submit the form anyways, just so that you get your points. And I know I'll be tracking and keeping track of your hours just to make sure you're up to date. And if I feel like, okay, you've got to catch up some to make sure you get these 50 done by the end of the semester, then I'll touch base with you. I don't want to see all those hours taking place at the end. They really should be throughout. So let's make sure that we're focused on that, but it doesn't mean there won't be a week without hours. Submit the log anyways so that you get your credit. Discussion post and responses. So we're going to have a bi-weekly discussion post. That means you post one week, the next week you respond, then we post the next week. We have a total of 7 discussion posts. They're very open-ended. What I want it to act as is your reflection and descriptions of what you're doing in your classroom. Maybe it's a description of the professional reading because we can learn from each other. Any aspects of literacy that's relevant to your experience that you're learning about, and just how the professional development or field experience is impacting your practice. So what's changing in your practice? How are you teaching differently? What's this week look like? What have you learned? Those pieces. So as I grade this and we're looking at this over time, this is really your kind of journal or blog type format of what you've been doing through this journey of professional development. So just keep that in mind. That's what I'm looking for, and I'm looking for that growth, not necessarily right or wrong. I do make suggestions of what I think you should have within each post, but I'm looking for more that scholarly graduate level writing. I do ask for APA style format on all of your writing. So if you're referencing something, please make sure you've got APA style in there. But it's definitely a place for you to reflect on what you're learning and help through that growth. So I want you to see it as that type of experience. And then you'll respond to each other's, and those responses are part of your grade too. Most of your grade is on the post, so keep that in mind. It's a total of 30% of the grade, the discussion post and responses. And those are actually logged separately, even though the discussion form does require responses in Leo. You'll do everything in Leo, by the way. You'll want to make sure that you're checking the grade on your responses too, because I do that have that in a separate point so that you can see that was separate. You'll have 3 reflection papers about your professional reading. The first one will be about disruptive thinking, and then your other 2 will be on your other books of your choice. There are clear directions in the syllabus about what those papers consist of, but more or less just a synopsis summarizing of your learning from the book, and then application to the classroom, reflection, what it means to you. 50 points per paper, so 150 points total. That's 25% of the grade. Those are due throughout. I'll make sure the due dates are clear. I do try to put those in as we go along so that you know that those due dates are coming up, and so that you're not putting it off till last minute. And then another piece of your grade will be the site visit observation. One observation, I have a pre-observation form. It's a Google form. I need that by the morning of your observation. And it's really just letting me know what I'm looking for, what I'm going to see, what you've planned for me that day. And then we'll have a post-conference conversation. That can be via phone. It can be in person within the 24 to 48 hours after the conference. And I'll use kind of the OTES approach to giving you feedback. And so that will kind of help you a little bit there. So those 2 pieces, 50 total of 50 points, 10% of your grade. And then last but not least, probably one of the key most important parts is your final portfolio. And for that, I want you here in the first few weeks to be starting to think of the student that you might select. Because that student that you're going to select one student to focus on the learner. and think about how your data-driven program helped improve their literacy. So it's a really, really important piece of the class, but I like you to know up front that it's coming because A, you may want to start thinking about a student. The first couple of weeks of school obviously are, crazy, and you're going to get to know your students, but also be keeping track of all the things as you go along that you're doing. So the assessments, the diagnostics, the student work, any notes you're taking anecdotally, the data that you're utilizing, the lessons that you're teaching, the plans that you're making, because all of that will go into your portfolio. We'll have a shared Google Drive folder, and you'll put all of that in there. You'll also be able to upload it in Leo, but sometimes it's just easier for people to upload their final reflection for the portfolio and then put all of your assignments in that Google Drive folder, or all of the different assessments and pieces you have. That's fine, because I know you're gonna have to scan some things, take pictures of things. I want it to be easy, and uploading that to Drive is sometimes the easiest way. That final portfolio is 100 points, and that will be 15% of your grade. So total of 650 points for the course, but it's covered over those different pieces. All of the rubrics, all of those pieces will all be in the syllabus, but also in our Google Drive folder. I'll add all of those pieces, just copies of them, so that you can look at them as you're working. I just want to reiterate that this is your field experience. I want it to be meaningful for you. I want it to impact your practice. And so however I can support you to do that, just let me know. Pay attention to the announcements, pay attention to the due dates, reach out to me if you're having any issues or concerns. You can always catch me by email or stop by the office, or you're welcome to call me. So whichever way is easiest for you. I know we're going to have a great semester, and please reach out now with any questions.